of this module one. It's mainly conceptual discussion for us to make some good sense of operations management, right? All right, so first of all, let's talk about the concept of goods, services, and the CBPs. And from now on, I'm going to use a lot of the whiteboard for our discussion, right? And I also encourage you to handwrite your notes so that you can own your own, you have the ownership of your notes. You learn more that way, you retain the information longer, right? And you have more chance to apply what you learn. Okay, so the whiteboard will go like the following. It's like the whiteboard in the classroom, right? Actual classroom. So I have the whiteboard. I will use the markers to write down. So hopefully you can follow my pace because it's not too fast. So I hope you should follow it easily. All right, so we talk about module number 1 about operations management. All right, so the introduction about OM. The first concept that I would like to talk with you about is about what we sell in the modern economy. We set up a business, a company, or sometimes government agencies or a non-profit organization. We set up the organization to do something, right? So so here what we talk about, normally, traditionally, we talk about good. We sell good. We sell services. The differences between these are the following: goods are kind of tangible. You can touch it, you can store it. But services, right? It is intangible. You cannot store it anymore. You cannot store it. When it is done, it is done. You cannot store services. So it's a big difference from the merchandise, right? Okay, but the more important point that I want to make here is the following. In the modern economy, we do not just sell one good, and we do not just sell one service. We sell a whole host of things packaged together. So we call that as a customer benefit package. Or the CBP. Right, so if you read the definition in my PowerPoint, the CBP is a combination of tangible and intangible features, right? So good and services combined together that the customer recognize, pay for, and experience, right? So so that's a package. It is a combination of different features that the customer either recognize and then pay for and then experience, right? So I would like to go through this concept with you by asking you about a Walmart visit. Let's talk about that as our example, and hopefully you make some good sense of the customer benefit package, okay? A Walmart visit. So just imagine right now if you go to Walmart, in your mind, of course, you are thinking about some kind of merchandise that you need to buy, right? But maybe the merchandise is not the very first thing that you get from a visit to Walmart. So I would like to ask all of you, what is the first thing that you get if you visit Walmart right now? Please feel free to share in the chat window or
shopping cart.
Mute yourself. I heard shopping cart from, is that Christopher?
Yes.
All right. You are close, Christopher. Everybody, please feel free to type in the chat window, or you can say like Christopher just said.
Hand sanitizer.
Oh, think about a visit to Walmart right now, okay? Or recently that you went, or yesterday you just went to Walmart. What is the first thing that you get from Walmart?
Like a customer welcoming, like they stand in front and just say hi.
Okay, you are close, but maybe that's not the very first thing, okay?
You get a parking space.
Yeah, so yeah. So Rosie and Julian agree with each other. That's important, right? So think about it. When you go to a store, and it's so easy for you to park, it's so easy for you to just park and then walk in, right? That's your convenience right there. So that's the first service that Walmart offers you in a Walmart visit. Okay, it's not the merchandise yet. So you have to park your car first. It's easy for you to find a parking spot before you can do anything. Everybody here knows about Glendale Galleria, right? It's a very good place to be. But sometimes I'm so hesitant to go there because if I go there during the holiday season, you know what? I have to drive around like 5 or 10 minutes before I can find a parking spot. It's so kind of hassling, right? So that's why sometimes I do not want to go there. I want to go to another place where I can easily find a parking spot. So right there, right? If we do not do that part right, people might go choose another store to go to every day on the way home to do the shopping. So as a manager, as the owner of the store, they have to think hard about how to design the parking lot to make it easy for people to access for the incoming traffic, for the exiting traffic, things like that, right? So that we do not cause a lot of trouble with the neighborhood or with the streets. That's the very first thing. That's the first service that they provide to you. And then, okay, so you park your car and then you get the shopping cart, right? Like somebody said, and then like somebody will greet you, right? The greeting is kind of an assurance that, oh, you are welcome. You're working here. We're going to help you to do the shopping, right? So that's another service right there. So you walk in the store and you start shopping for the merchandise, right? So okay, so when you walk in the store, somebody will greet you, you're in the store right now. What are so beside the merchandise, right? What are the services that Walmart offers that you can think of? Please feel free to type in the chat window.
The pharmaceutical services?
Joking. Okay. Say that again, sorry.
Pharmaceutical services?
Okay, that's another thing. It's not just an automotive, fast food chain, shopping cart. Okay, fine. You're right. We already get the shopping cart and then we're walking. Sometimes the shopping cart is a bottleneck. You know what? One time I went to Walmart and there was no cart to be found. I don't know why. It is a busy day or something like that. I cannot do my shopping effectively because it's so hard to find the shopping cart. Okay. Cashiers, curbside pickup. Okay, Elita, that's the innovation because of the pandemic. Now more and more stores would do that, right? To reduce the traffic inside the store, to do the social distancing, things like that, and people feel comfortable do the online order and then just go there and pick it up instantly to satisfy the need. Okay, so a lot of students will come up with a lot of things like MoneyGram is another thing. All right, MoneyGram is another big service that Walmart offers, right? So a lot of people talk about different things. So I can summarize all what you just say by the following: you have the variety of goods and services, right? In terms of goods, it's not just the home goods; it's automotive, it is pharmaceutical, and then you have the groceries. You go there and nearly you get everything that you need for your daily life, right? So that's a one-stop shopping service right there. That's the convenience that we should appreciate because when we do the one-stop shopping, we don't have to go to another store. We don't have to spend more time and burn more gas for just shopping. So that's another service that Walmart provides to all of us. That's why they entice a lot of people go over there. Walmart is the most busiest store that normally you find, right? Because it has a lot of things to offer to everybody. So that's why that's another big thing with that. It's not just the merchandise, the variety, the convenience of going there and shop, right? Okay, so if you think more, Walmart has a lot of things that sell you. So the main point, let me go back to the main point. Walmart is just not selling you the one merchandise or just one service. They sell you a whole host of merchandise and services, right? Especially service, because we can add on a lot of services. Nowadays, you do the online order with deliveries, or you go there to pick it up with the curbside pickup, things like that, right? Especially groceries. You don't have to go inside and do the shopping, the actual shopping. You just paid for it online and then you picked it up. All right, so that's the customer benefit package right there. Beside the merchandise, that's the convenience. Or somebody mentioned about the food store like McDonald's, right? Like I have kids, so I'd like to go to Walmart because I can satisfy my kids first, calm them down before I can peacefully do all of the shopping, right? So things like that. Families would like to go to Walmart because of that reason. So so you think about it. There's a whole host of things on Amazon. When you buy something, they also offer you a lot of things. For example, you buy something, right? Then they ship it to you, and then if you're not satisfied with it, then you can return it. Without that free return opportunities, maybe you don't want to buy the item in the first place. You will go to Walmart and buy things, right? But now because Amazon normally they give free returns services, and it's very convenient for you to drop your returns, right? That's why, okay, it's not too bad. In the worst case scenario, you can return it. So why don't we just buy from Amazon, right? So it's a whole host of things that they are selling you. Sometimes you have to think hard to really realize it. All right, so now we're done with the Walmart case. Let's talk about Target. Target is doing very good nowadays, right? But think about it, Target is normally selling items with the higher prices than Walmart. They can do that because normally, first of all, the quality is normally better than Walmart, right? Typically, I do not say everything. So people go there for better quality goods, home goods or clothes or things like that, right? Um, or the convenience of having a store nearby. Sometimes going to a nearby store is a convenience right there, right? So, but besides, when you go to Target, you have the good feeling when you walk into the store. It looks so shiny and beautiful. And when you look at the ceiling, it's not a warehouse look, right? It is a nicely done ceiling with good lightings right there. And the floor is so shiny. So the whole thing make it as a very good scene for you to walk in, right? And some of you go to Target because you want to have a Starbucks or something like that, right? So all of those are the things that the store is selling you, so that they entice you to walk in and buy things from your store, from their store, right? So again, we are not selling just one thing in the modern economy. We are selling a whole host of things. Okay. So there are two things that I want to bring it up here for us to be conscious about. One of the things that the customer benefit package brings in is they bring in more value, right? If you can bring more value to the customers, then they will buy more from you. So with more values, you can generate more revenue. So that's the first thing, right? For your benefit as a company. Another thing is differentiation. So sometimes people go to Walmart because of that McDonald's. Sometimes people go to Target because of that Starbucks, right? So that's a differentiation right there. Even though the store might be the same Walmart store, but this store has McDonald's, another store has another fast food chain. I cannot remember, but they sell like tiny hot dogs, things like that, right? So the differentiation right there will have some kind of loyalty effect to the customers, right? Sometimes they just go here because of that differentiation or because of that differentiation. So differentiation is another good thing that CBB can bring to the company so that they can compete more easily. So it's good for competition. Right? From the customer perspective, you have more value. And then because of that, you are more satisfied, you go there more, you are willing to spend more money so they can generate more revenues. And from the company side, they can differentiate their offerings from their competitors' offerings. And by doing that, it's easier for them to compete, to stay afloat, to have a loyal customer base, and then you can grow that loyal customer base, right? So that's the first big topic that I would like to talk about, because at the end of the day, right, operations is about what we do, so, about what we sell to be successful, right? So that's the first thing that I would like to convey with you. We are not just selling one thing; we are selling a package of things. All right. The second big topic that I would like to discuss is called value. So we need to understand more about what we sell so that we can be more successful, right? We can sell a package, a good or a service or a combination to customers because we bring value to them. So in a very simple way, we can define value as perceived benefits compared to the cost, right? So mathematically, we can do it as a following. Let me write it out for you. So value is a function or an equation of perceived benefits divided by the cost to the customers, right? They buy the package because of some perceived benefits relative to the cost that they have to pay out. And here we have to talk about the perceived benefits, which means it is subjective. It is not absolute. Because when we talk about satisfaction, it is totally personal. It is kind of subjective, right? The two of you walk in the same movie theaters. You watch the same movie. You eat the popcorn, right? So everything is the same. But when you walk away from the movie theater, you have two different takes on the movie, because satisfaction of watching a movie is kind of personal. Each one of us gets different things out of it, right? So that's why here we talk about perceived benefits. It's not absolute, okay? And to make it a little bit simple, I would rewrite the equation as B over C. So value equals the ratio B over C, right? It is possibly it is very simple. It is among the most important. It is the most simple equation, but maybe it is among the most important equation in business, right? Because if you know the secret of how to increase the value of our offerings, then over time we will survive and thrive. You grow as a company, right? So an important question that we ask ourselves is how to increase the value. So I would like to say, I think hard about this. I look at all of what companies do in real life, not all, but I think about different examples, and I come up with the following claim, okay? So there are 5 ways to increase value. All right. Please look at the equation again. Value equals B over C. So I would like to have a question for all of you. What do we do to B and C to increase the value of our offerings, of our products? All right.
Decrease the cost.
Okay, that's
Increase
good.
the value.
So that's the first start. It's a good start, right? Is that Theo?
Yes,
That's-
that was
Okay, good. Because sometimes when you say you and me, I do not really know who just said. Okay, so 5 ways to increase the value, reduce the cost, right? And I will check the chat window. All right. So first of all, we can keep the benefits the same, but somehow if we can reduce the cost to the customers, right? Then the ratio will go up. B divided by C will go up, right? How to reduce the cost? For example, you give the discount, the sales, the coupons, things like that. People, it's a good value now. They will buy from you, right? And if you have the coupon programs, okay, then you create some kind of loyal customer base where they go there, they look for the coupons and buy from you. They do not go to another store because they think that maybe you create a coupon opportunity better than other stores, right? So that's the first way to think about how to bring up the value, right? So let me look at the chat window. So Alan agrees with Theo about lowering the cost. Felon increasing the benefit and reducing the cost. Okay, that's perfect because if we can work on the 2 fronts at the same time, then that's even better, right? People will realize that more easily. So if you can increase the benefits and reduce the costs at the same time, and a lot of technological innovation does that, okay? Benefit goes up and cost goes down at the same time. Then, of course, the ratio goes up and then people are more satisfied with what they buy. They will buy it more from you the next time around. They will advertise it for you. They recommend you to their relatives and friends, and you can grow your clientele base that way, right? Okay, so V, you are talking about like number 2. You try to increase the benefits and reduce the cost at the same time. Okay, so how about other things that we can do with B and C to raise the ratio? Right, how to mathematically raise the ratio? And then we're gonna talk.
More value, and also the cost will increase, but the value is much more worth than the cost.
Okay, it's a very good idea. Good. So another method is we can increase the benefits way more than the cost increase, right? For example, you bundle things together. That's a simple way. You don't have to create new things, okay? You just bundle them together. Of course, it's gonna cost you more when you have more things in the package, but then you do not increase the price as much as the increase in the value, right? Then the customer will see, oh, buying the bundle, I have more with less cost per unit, things like that. So they will buy more from you because they see more value, higher value from your offering, right? So yeah, see, you're right. Another example about the number 3 right here is, let's talk about the luxury goods, like Louis Vuitton accessories, right? It's very expensive, but then a lot of people still buy because they think that the materials is much better than other materials, and then the look or the emotional attachment of the item, of that luxury items, right, bring you a lot of emotional benefits. So again, it is personal and subjective satisfaction, right? So the benefit goes up a lot. So even though the cost is much higher, people still buy it. Okay, that's method number 3. How about method number 4? please look around with the B and C. And then we can relate that to real life like practices, right? So what can you think of as a next method to increase the ratio of B divided by C?
Keep the cost, increase benefits.
Okay. Okay. So keep. Okay. So but at least right, I see C. Say that keep constant. Okay. So maybe because we talk about the cost, right? The other option here for the cost is the following. Okay. We keep the cost the same, right? But somehow we just make the benefit better by improve the quality of the product without increasing the cost to the customers. By advertising, and help people more aware of the products, right? For example, Tesla, when they try to sell a car, then first of all, they have to have a prototype. They will hold an event, a big event, where they show the car, they do demonstration, like hit a big heavy metal ball on the glass, right? Unfortunately, it broke. But then people still see a lot of good things in the Cybertruck, and a lot of people still buy it, right? It's a good deal. So the same item, but if you can make people more aware of the benefits of buying that item, then the perceived benefits go up, and then you can sell more that way, right? It doesn't have to be a big change, big improvements in the product, as long as you make people more aware of the good things that you offer, then people will buy from you. So advertisement does that too, right? So that's method number 4. But I would say that there are 5 methods in total. What can you think of as a 5th one? So how to increase the ratio, right? Working with the B and C. So I already went through the 4 methods. Keeping B the same, decrease the C. Keeping C the same, increase the B. Increase the B, decrease the C. Increase the B a lot, and increase the C a little bit. So what would be the 5th method? Might be a little bit surprising.
Could you
Well,
increase the price and lower the benefits? So making it more like rare of a commodity?
But then in that case, right, the ratio will go down. You said lower, decrease increase the price and lower the benefit, right? But mathematically, that will make the ratio go down, and people might find less value in that case. But I think that you are in the right direction, Rob.
Can you decrease B and also decrease the cost?
By a greater amount, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's the 5th one. Okay, and I believe that Rose is very close in that direction. So in that case, right, we might knock down the quality a little bit, but then we can lower the cost a lot. Then the ratio will go up, and it might sound kind of backward innovation, right? But actually, that happens all the time. Think about all the imported goods. Many of them can be made better with higher quality in the United States, but it is not made here. It is made from another country and imported here, right? So we consume a lot of imported goods because maybe the quality is not as good as US made, but because of a much lower cost, then we find value in buying the imported goods. Because with that, we can save money and we use money for something else. So as a consumer, we benefit more by using and buying the imported goods, right? Another example about method number 5 here is the difference between a generic drug and a prescription or brand name drugs. The brand name drugs or prescription drugs are not only more effective, but then it's very costly, right? So sometimes company knocked out the quality and say that, oh, this is generic. It might not be as effective as the other one, but we use much less expensive ingredients, so we can lower the price for you. So for some people, that's a good deal, right? B goes up, B goes down, C goes way down. So that's a good value for them to buy. So if you look around all what the companies do, then it's going to fall on one of the 5 methods that we list here, right? So what is the point of discussing this? And now, from now on, I hope that you are more conscious about what you can do to raise the value, right? Of course, at the end, eventually you have to come up with a specific way to do it. But if you start from this one of the 5 categories and think harder about what you already did, what you have not done that other companies are doing, then you will find a good way to increase your value. You will survive, you will thrive, and you will grow by bringing more value to the customer, right? So I hope you make some sense of the value function, right, through this discussion. All right, so that's another big topic that we go through. Next, I would like to talk about the definition of OM, right? We are taking the OM class, so what it is, and now with the background of the CBP, with the value, now we can talk about the definition of OM. All right, so we have the next topic. It is called the operation management, right, or OM. So what is OM? If you go online, you might find different definitions of what OM is, right? Different kind of thinker will emphasize different things. So in this case, I would like to use a definition from the previous book that I used. I list the title of the book at the end of the PowerPoint, right? You can read that. So OM is a combination between science and art. Right? Not just science, not just art, it is both of them. So that we can create and deliver goods and services. But nowadays, because we are selling the CBP, so let me write the CBPs here instead of goods and services, okay? It is a combination between science and art so that we can create and deliver the packages successfully to the customer. Right. So let me emphasize some of the keyword here. For example, science, art, we create something, we deliver them to the customers. Right. So what is science? We have to do scientific methods, right, to improve the quality of the products, use high tech or something. And we do data analytics to improve our operations, right? All of those are kind of scientific things to do. But sometimes art or innovative ideas, concept, or just kind of thinking, innovative thinking might help you to improve your products and services already. You don't have to spend too much money, right? You just sit down with your team, discuss on how to do things better. Then you might come up with a surprisingly simple idea, which will be very effective for you to improve the performance of your company, right? So, for example, in the past, all of the shipment by FedEx is done by FedEx. All of the shipment by UPS, sorry, is done by UPS, right? But over time, FedEx realized that if they hire the post office to do the small package deliveries for them, then they can save a lot of money, right? Why so? You don't have to do a lot of analysis here. The post office has a vast network of trucks and workers. They go from house to house, deliver from door to door, right? So if FedEx kind of partner with the post office, then they can help FedEx to deliver the small packages for them. It's cheaper to do it that way with the smaller packages. And FedEx will retain and focus on the bigger packages where they can generate more revenues, right? So you don't have to do scientific thinking here. You just think about it and you already come up with a good idea already, right? So FedEx did that a long time ago. And recently I also see that UPS also catch up with the game. Through my personal experience, maybe they also did that a long time ago, but from time to time, right? It says that UPS, but at the end, the post office is a person who delivers the package to your front porch, right? So again, OM should be a combination between science and art, and that is reflected in our class. Sometimes we do a lot of calculation, but sometimes we just discuss some idea will help you to improve your business, right? Okay, so that we can create and deliver our offerings successfully to the customer, right? At the end, the customer is the end of the supply chain. We try to please them and hopefully generate more revenue, right, from their satisfaction. Okay, so that's the definition of OM. Again, it is subjective. Different thinkers might emphasize different things. All right, so what do they do in OM, right? So we call that as OM element. Normally we hear about the CEO, right? The Chief Executive Officer of a big company. But you know what? There's another person called the COO, the Chief Operations Manager or the Chief Operating Officer, right? That person takes care of the actual operations of the company, try to have a steady stream of activities, and then save money for the company, right? So what does that person do? The COO, right? So I make a list in the PowerPoint. Let me read that for you. And then I encourage you to read more because I give you some more details in the slide. Okay, so the COO, by the way, let me refer you to module 1, slide 11. All right, so the COO will do supply chain management, right? That's a big task, a lot of tasks, a lot of things that needs to be done for the supply chain management. Resource and capacity management, right? You manage your human resource, all of the capacity of the hotel, capacity of the restaurant, things like that. Quality management, right? Very important. Technology, well, because everything has some kind of technological base, right? So we also have to take care of the technology and improve it over time to catch up with all of the innovations in the economy and in the field. Forecasting, important because, and that's why we do that in module 2, because we want to inform ourselves better about the future when we make our decisions, right? Sustainability is another important dimension that a COO will have to take care of, right? Especially today with all of the better awareness about the environmental impacts of what companies do. Process design, job design, facility layout and design, service encounter design. For example, when you have a hotel or a restaurant, you have to design your service encounters, points of contacts, make sure that everything works smooth to satisfy the customers, right? Another one is purchasing and scheduling. We do not cover everything in our class. We do some important parts of it, but not everything, okay? So that's it is called the OM elements. I encourage you to read more in the slide. So next up, I would like to talk about some kind of brief history of OM. Okay. So So brief history of OM or OM evolution. So OM is an organic field. It changes itself over time because there are a lot of things changes over time, right? So here are the changes in OM focus. When we talk about focus, it doesn't mean that we only do one thing. We do other things, but here is the focus of this time, and then another time, another innovation, and then we focus on other things. Right? So I have the timeline for you in slide 15. We talk about the 1960s and then 1970s, 1980s, 90s, 2000, 2010s, and 2020s, as we are now, right? So that's the timeline, and here are the big wave of changes or the big wave of focus in operations. So the first wave of focus is on cost and efficiency, right? So in our value framework, when they focus on cost and efficiency, they are focusing on the cost side of the value function. They try to reduce the cost of their own production process so that they can lower the cost to the customers, and you can compete more that way, right? Okay, so that's the first wave of focus. But if every company, your competitors do the same thing as you do, then you have to find another way to compete better, right? So the next wave or the next innovation is called quality. So companies worked on the quality of the products to compete better, right? So that happens in the 1970s, starting with the auto industry in Japan. So they try to improve the quality of the cars, and nowadays we know that Japanese cars are very reliable, right? Okay, so and from that, the quality revolution, it was transferred to other countries and transferred to other industries, right? So that's another dimension that companies can work on to increase satisfaction, increase the value, and sell more and compete more, right? Better. All right. So what if all the car companies did the same thing, improving the quality? By the way, remember, we still keep the cost and efficiency in the background, right? Now we work on quality, but now we find out that your competitors also do the same thing. So you have to find another dimension to work on, and that's customization and design, right? So you focus very deep on the quality of the products. If you can individualize the satisfaction to the customers, right? Then they really appreciate your offering. When we walk on the street, we want to wear the shirt that only you have, right? Rather than like 5 people walking around, you have the same shirts. So you're not satisfied with that. So customization is very important to bring up the satisfaction and the desire that really cater to the customer's needs, right? So that's the next wave of focus. And in the 1990s, they find another important dimension to work on, and that's the time. And that's the rise of Amazon.com. At the time, there was so many .com companies, right? But eventually, Amazon.com emerges as the leader in the field, in the online retail field. So, and that's how they have become so successful, right? So, so it's about both benefits and costs. If you can ship the goods to the customer, deliver the goods to the customer faster, they will be more satisfied. At the same time, you can lower the waiting cost for the customers, right? So that's both and see right there. And Amazon promised the prime members that they can deliver the goods within 2 days, right? It's a big deal because you just go online, you click on something, you buy things, and then you don't have to worry too much about it, and then it's going to appear on your porch after 2 days, and you do not need it right away, right? So it doesn't really matter with a wait time of 2 days. Of course, we are in Southern California. Sometimes it's just 1 day because there are so many warehouses, distribution centers around, not only from Amazon, from other companies too. So when you go from overstock, it might say several days, but might be it's just 1 or 2 days, and you already receive things already, right? So the time is very important. Another dimension. It's not the merchandise itself, right? This is a service that companies can bring it to you. They cut down the time, bring up your satisfaction at the same time. That helps you to reduce the waiting costs, right? Okay, and it's still, people are still working on that now. It doesn't mean that it is a fact, even though in the timeline it is 1990s. It started in 1990s, but it is still a trendy thing that people do now, right? The next wave of change, wave focus is called the service and value. Right? We think about selling cars, but there's another thing that you can do. You can cross-sell other products and services to bring up the value of your package, right? So with the service and value, you can help to bring up the satisfaction to the customers, and you can generate more revenue that way. And you don't have to produce another car to generate more revenue. You just add on to the service, add the service on top of the cars, right? Right. So another dimension that companies can work on is sustainability. Another wave of focus. Okay. More people are now aware of the environmental impacts of what we do, what we consume, what we produce, right? So they demand more green products. They demand more green processes. They expect companies to do more green things, right? So that's the rise of Tesla. They caught up with the trend early, and now they become the leader in the EV industry. Their market cap reflecting what people want, right? Hopefully or partially, is even more than the total of other auto companies, at least at some point last year, right? Okay, so sustainability is another big wave of focus, right? Companies now do more green things. We are moving more towards to solar, to wind energies, and then we do more EVs. Okay, even though it's more expensive than the old technologies, but then right, people like that, so they are willing to buy more because the benefits is more. So B and C at the same time. And then the next wave of focus is data and analytics. Okay, so we have good products, we have good services. We focus on sustainability, right? We try to deliver everything fast, right? But there's another dimension that we can work on to improve our operations, which is data and analytics, right? So we see more of this. Every day we go online, we browse things, right? But actually they are silently collecting your browsing habits, browsing information. And then from time to time, there pops up a window saying that, oh, this is a product that you might like. It is on sale. And actually, you would buy it, right? Because that's what you need. And you have a good value with that because of the sales or something like that, right? So that benefits you. And for the companies, they can bring down the cost by using data analytics, right? By looking at the quantitative metrics, they can make the decision better. We are in the electronic world where we generate a lot of data through operations, right? On Facebook, on Instagram, a lot of information. So companies, they cannot just hire more people to do the analysis, right? It's very expensive to hire analysts. So one thing that they can do is they use more AI, artificial intelligence, and do more machine learning. Machine learning is the lower level of AI, right? So they use that kind of automation so that they can save the cost of hiring more workers. But at the same time, they can also, AI and machine learning can also improve the quality of the services too, or of the manufacturing process too, right? It's amazing nowadays that even in sports, they also use data to improve their operations. So coaches nowadays, they recruit athletes based on their statistics, right? Oh, that statistic, I mean, that's athletes with that kind of performance statistics will fit this position of the team. Or during the game, right? They use camera to track the movements of the athletes in real time. And then, of course, they do calculation in the computers, right? And then if they see any sign of slowing down, then they will replace the athlete with another fresh athlete to improve the chance of winning. Right? So we are having different waves of focus, but we are still in the middle of everything. Okay, so please keep that in mind. So that's the big changes of focus of OM over time. But please keep in mind that we also have to know the big changes of the economy, right? So we call that as a context shift. We discuss all of this because as a manager, we have to keep in mind all of these changes to innovate your own thinking and innovate your company so that you can survive and thrive, right? So let me refer you to module 1, slide 16, about the context shift. Let me read that for you. So we compare between the past and the present. The past here, like 1960s, and the present here is 2020, right? In the past, it's about cost minimization, reduce the cost of production, right? But today is a broader sense. We focus on sustainability, right? Not only the cost of production, cost of material, or usage of material, right? But we do more than that. Mass production in the past, but now we do mass customization. So earlier we focusing, the economy is about producing more, right? But nowadays we are producing more different things. And mass customization is a reality, right? If you look at a modern car factory now, in one day they can crank out 1,000 cars, and all 1,000 cars are kind of different, right? Because different models, different pins, different options that they put inside the cars, things like that, right? So at the moment we are doing mass customization, right? That's a technology that modern car factories can achieve. All right. In the past, we talked about manufacturing based, but the economy now is information based. Right? We still have manufacturing foundation, but then on top of that, right? Now information help a lot. A lot of the things that you do now, you can do it yourself by going just to YouTube, and then you do things already. You do not have to bring your car to the shop for them to do it for you, right? A lot of the things you just need the know-how, and then you can do that. That's from the consumer point of view, right? But in fact, manufacturer is also the same. Sometimes they only do it better by just having a better idea, better information about how to do things, right? Focus on goods in the past, and today we focus on value and service, right? You don't have to produce more items. You just add on the services, and then that's good to bring up the values already. Local markets in the past, and today we have the global markets, right? With the internet, where we connect everywhere in the world together. All the orders can go to overseas easily by one click of a keyboard. And then with the big ocean liners, we can reduce the cost of ocean freight. Right? We have big airplanes where we can reduce the cost of aviation freight, things like that. So the world becomes smaller relatively. So we have a global market, right? The same world, the same globe that we have, but things are closer, right? Things are faster, and so we have a global market. So those are the big changes in the economy. And again, as a manager, you always have to keep yourself up to date, keep your company up to date, so that you can survive and thrive, right? And of course, you'll be rewarded by doing good things for the company. Of course, in the slide, I have more. Please feel free to read more when you have more time. All right, so let me share with you the definition of the value chain. All right, let me share that with you. By the way, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. All right, so I'm going to slide 17 in our module 1 right now, right? So nowadays we talk about supply chain or value chain, right? So at least we have a kind of notion of what they are. A value chain is a network of facilities and processes that specify the flow of input, outputs, information, financial transactions from suppliers through the facilities and processes that create goods and services, and those that deliver them to the customer. Wow, it's a very long definition, right? Please be assured that I will not ask you memorization. I only ask you how you understand it, how you apply the concept to a situation, right? In a business situation, rather than memorizing things, right? So even though it is long, but don't worry. Later on, I will summarize that for you by a picture, okay? Together with the value chain concept, we have the supply chain definition. Supply chain is a portion of the value chain that emphasizes on the physical movement of goods and materials with the supporting flows of information and finance. Right? What are information? For example, orders is on information right there, right? Emails, information, blueprints is also information, know-how, design, things like that are information, right? So with the flows of information and finance through supply, production, and distribution processes. Again, it's a long definition, but don't worry, I will summarize that for you. We do not try to differentiate between value chain and supply chain in our class, right? So don't worry about the differences. They say here, like supply chain is part of the value chain. But nowadays, we kind of call them as the same thing, value chain or supply chain. Supply chain it sounds more trendy, right? With all of the disruption in the supply chain, different supply chains, right? Now, the word supply chain is kind of trendy. In the past, I heard value chain more, but nowadays we hear about supply chain more. All right, so let me summarize these by a picture, and hopefully that will help you to make sense of what a supply chain is. Okay, so we have value chain or supply chain. So VC or SC, right? It can be very complicated, like Walmart, like Amazon, or the auto industry as a whole, right? Not just one company is a supply chain. But we can simplify it by drawing the following picture. Okay, so we have the picture of a supply chain as a pipe like this. It is a pipe, right? Where we start with the suppliers. They will provide the raw materials, parts, subcomponents, components, right? Sub-assemblies, assemblies, things like that into the supply chain. And then the items will go through different steps, right, all the way to the customers. All right. So we start with the suppliers, and then we end at the customers. Along the way, we have different facilities. We have different processes. Facilities, it can be the factory, it can be the workshop, it can be the port. Like if you go to the Long Beach area, right? You can make sense of how port operation looks like with a lot of ships on the ocean, right? And then we have the ports, we have the truck. I mean, we have the warehouses, and then we have the distribution centers. We have the retail stores, things like that, right? So those are the facilities for the workflow to go through, for the items to go through, for the merchandise to go through. Okay, and then we have to have processes. For example, we have to have the freight process from overseas, either ocean freight or. Oh, by the way, the first process is a production process, right? And then freight, and then trucking processes, handling processes, because sometimes we have to deal with harmful chemicals, so you have to have a special way to handle the things. You have to handle the foods, and then you have to just do the retail process, right? And then the return process, the reverse logistic process, things like that. By the way, when I say reverse logistic, it means that we go the other way around, right? Normally, we talk about the supply chain as going forward, but sometimes things go backward, like returns, like warranty claims, or you know what, even money itself goes the other way. Item goes forward to the customer, but the money has to go backward to the suppliers and the producers, right? So it is a network of things, very complicated. But I hope that I can simplify that for you to make a good sense of it, right? It is a pipe like this for things to go through, going forward, going backward. Okay, so with that, right, we can, by the way, I have some more details in the slide about the value chain. I encourage you to read as soon as you can. So beside that, sometimes we have to make sense of the value chain and the supply chain through some kind of visualization, right? So the next step is I would like to talk about VC, or supply chain frameworks or perspectives, right? So it might sound fancy. It's just kind of visualization of what a company does, of what a supply chain looks like and how it works, right? So let me list the 3 frameworks here, and then I'm gonna go back to the PowerPoint and show that to you in more details. So the first one is called the input-output framework. The second one is called the pre and post production services framework. Okay, and the third one is called the e-commerce framework. Yeah, I will show everybody the slide right now. Thank you, Rob. All right, so different frameworks here are just different options for you to draw how the company looks like, what they do, or how a supply chain, that's a big thing, like auto industry, right, looks like and how they operate. Okay, so let me show you the PowerPoint of these 3 frameworks. All right, let me share that with you. And once I'm done, I have to make sure that I already saved my notes before I share. By the way, at the end of the day, I gather my notes and I will post it on Canvas, right? So sometimes you want to verify your notes, or sometimes you miss the class, and at least you have something to work on. Okay, so here is an input-output framework. It's just some kind of graph or a drawing that will help us to understand more about what we pay attention to right now, right? So a supply chain is a pipe. Remember, it is a pipe, right? Going from the suppliers all the way to the customers. So for the supply chain to work, for a company to work, we have to have some kind of walls of the pipe, right? We have the management and the support processes. And then we have the measurement and feedback processes. All right, so support processes, for example, we have accounting, we have the accounting department, we have the HR department, we have the R&D department, we have the IT departments, right? Different functioning departments of functional departments of a company. And then we have to have measurement and feedback, right? Like when you ride a car, when you drive your car, you have to look at the speedometer. You have to know how fast you are. Sometimes you speed it up, sometimes you slow your car down, right? Based on the information right there in front of you. In business, right? You have to collect data and then do some calculation before they know what is going on. So all the reports, financial reports, operation reports are for you to have the gauges so that you can make your decision, right? So in the input-output framework, we focus on the core process in the middle, where we have the factory, for example. But before the factory, we have to have the input supplying process, or to have the workers, to have the merchandise, to have the parts and components, to have information like order, like blueprints, know-how, right? And then we put all of those into the core processes. And then we crank out the cars, for example, at the end, right, through the distribution process. But that's not the end. After we sell the goods to the customers, right, sometimes we have to do the post-sale services. That will enhance the package. That will satisfy the customers more, right? So this look is a traditional look of a company, like your car factory. But sometimes you might want to choose another look or another drawing to communicate what you do with your clients, with your colleagues, with your partners, right? In the second option, we talk about the pre and post-production services. We still have the core processes in the middle, right? But in front of it, we focus on the services, like designing, supplying, purchasing, financing, marketing, so that we hope to gain more customers, right? So if you design the products better, to be different from your competitors, right? Then you entice more people to come to you. You supplying means that you buy the components, right? The inputs from your suppliers, right? So if you do it right, you have better ingredients, you have better parts, then your products will be better, right? So it's about gaining customers. You provide the customer the trust in the quality of your products, then they will buy the products from you more. Like Tesla, they demonstrate these products or that product, right? Then they instill the trust into the customers, and then they will buy more products from them. And then, so after you gain your customer, you create the value for them, you create the products, you create the services, and provide the services to the customers, right? Then at the end, you have to keep the customer by other services, transportation, installing, repairing, training, recycling, right? When you sell sophisticated airplanes to an airlines, you also have to train the pilots over there, right? Along the way, you generate the revenues through the training and other services, right? So this focus, I mean, the second framework here is the focus on the services before and after. The third option is the e-commerce. So another draw that you can make to communicate what your company does, right? So like Amazon, they would choose this to describe themselves. They are the big seller beside Amazon. They also have other sellers to jump on the Amazon.com site and sell together with Amazon, right? You are the buyer, but there should be some kind of physical connection. The goods have to be transported by FedEx, by UPS, by the post office, right? It is called physical intermediary. But sometimes it's also the virtual intermediary. Sorry. For example, card processing is not done by the vendors, right? Normally, it is done by a company that does card processing because they have the IT know-how, they do it securely for you, right? So they'll do the card processing transaction for you. So and to entice people to buy more, you have to have some kind of return facilitators, right? Buy more online, then you have to have the return. So sometimes you return through the UPS store, Go store, or something like that, all the way to the Amazon or buy to the sellers, right? Buy to the suppliers. So with that, I would like to wrap up module 1. Thank you all for joining me today. Today is Wednesday already. I will not see you until next Monday. So have a great weekend, and then I'll see you next week. By the way, I'm going to enable the discussion forum soon. I already posted the project already. So please start working things on as early as you can. So thank you all, and I'll see you back next Monday. In the meantime, have a great weekend. If you have a quick question for me, please feel free to stay back a little bit.
I have a quick question. Will we have any assignments due this week?
No.
No
The
assignment.
first assignment is due somewhere September or something. I cannot, more than a month from now, okay?
I see. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so you can actively work in your schedule and manage your time.
No roll call today?
I do that through the Zoom reports online.
Oh,
I don't
perfect.
need to do the roll call anymore. Yeah. From now on, I do not need to do that anymore.
Perfect. Cool. Thank you.
Sure.
Professor, do we need to log in with our CPP email to be able to?
On Zoom?
Yes.
No, as long as I see your name.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I'll do it. I go through the list, so I see your name, and that's good. Any
Thank
other
you.
questions? Yeah, sure. Any other question, Williams?
Oh, I just wanted to thank you personally for finding
Okay,
moving this fast
okay.
for me.
Okay.
You know,
welcome.
this is a league ahead of what I was experiencing with the other professor. So,
No, you know what? Just because you have a special case.
I really appreciate it. I
that's
scheduled an
right.
appointment with DRC. I'll have that on Monday. So hopefully I can have that officialized.
Okay.
So thank you for all your help. Really, it's been massive.
Oh, okay. You're welcome, Will.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I'll see you on Monday.
Yeah, see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Any other